They told her to play the violin as a joke, expecting noise and embarrassment, but when she lifted the bow, the entire room stopped breathing, and not one person tried to hide it. It was the kind of silence that grabs your chest without warning, the kind that makes you realize you are about to witness something you will never forget. It was fifth period, last row by the window. That was where Nia Forrester always sat, same seat, same quiet posture, same worn violin case tucked between her knees like it could shatter if handled wrong. She rarely looked up unless a teacher called her name, and even then she spoke just enough to get by. She was the kind of student people barely noticed, a quiet kid trying to stay invisible in a loud place. But that day, she became the center of attention, and not in a way anyone would wish for. "All right, folks," said Mr. Buckley, the PE teacher who somehow ended up running the school talent showcase. "We've got spots open. Singers, dancers, magicians, whatever you've got, bring it." His voice carried that usual half-joking, half-serious tone, like even he was not sure why he was making the announcement. Then came the moment. Miss Dorsey, the math teacher who always wore the same beige sweater and acted like she owned the building, leaned toward Mr. Buckley and nodded her head toward the back of the room. "What about our little violinist over there?" she said, smiling just wide enough for half the class to hear. Mr. Buckley laughed without thinking. "Yeah, come on, Forrester, show us what that thing can really do. You've been carrying it around all year, might as well make it worth the wait." The room exploded with laughter. It was not the sharp kind that cuts you instantly. It crept in slowly, disguised as teasing, pretending to be harmless, but Nia felt it for what it really was. It was not encouragement. It was not curiosity, it was a dare wrapped in mockery. They assumed she would freeze or refuse, or worse, that she would not even understand she was being laughed at. Her fingers tightened around the neck of her violin case. She kept her eyes down, not yet. In the row ahead, a boy whispered something about dying cats. Someone else dragged their fingers across the desk, making a screeching sound like a broken string. The noise spread fast and messy, like spilled paint you cannot clean up. Miss Dorsey smiled like she had done something kind. "Just teasing, sweetheart," she added, waving it off like it meant nothing. That was when Nia finally lifted her head. She looked straight ahead, not at the teachers and not at the students, but past them. "I'll do it," she said. Her voice was calm and even, like she was ordering food at a drive. Through, the room went completely quiet. Even Mr. Buckley blinked. "You serious?" Nia did not repeat herself. She did not need to. She slid the violin case off her lap, placed it on the desk and reached for the clipboard, moving through the rows. No drama, no eye contact, just her name written clearly, Nia Forrester. Miss Dorsey laughed again, but this time it was softer. "Well, that's the spirit, I guess." But behind her smile something flickered, doubt, maybe even discomfort. She had not expected Nia to say yes. She expected her to shrink. The rest of the day passed like it always did. Bells rang, lockers slammed, sneakers squeaked across the halls, but something had shifted quietly underneath it all, because there was a lot they did not know about her. They saw a quiet black girl who barely spoke and carried a violin like she was trying too hard to be different. They did not know about the third-floor apartment she shared with her mother and little brother. They did not know how she practiced with a towel stuffed under the door so the neighbors would not bang on the wall. They did not know that the violin was not a hobby, it was the one thing that belonged only to her. And now they were all going to see it. Still, just because she said yes did not mean she was not afraid. Nia Forrester was not the kind of name people remembered. She did not stand out in the crowded halls of Toledo Central Middle School. She was not loud. She did not hang out near the vending machines. She did not snap back when kids made slick comments under their breath. She just kept walking, violin case in hand, shoulders slightly tense, like she had learned to take up less space than she deserved. But if you followed her home, if you walked the 4 blocks from school, crossed under the faded mural near Collingwood Boulevard, and climbed the crooked stairs to apartment 3C, you would see someone else. The real Nia. The violin case clicked open the moment the front door closed. No snack, no TV, just her music, and the peeling wall of the bedroom she shared. "That you, baby?" her mom called from the kitchen. "Yeah, you eat anything yet?" "Not hungry." "You should eat, don't make me come in there." Nia smiled a little. Her mom always said that. She meant it too, but she never came in when Nia was playing. Monica Forrester worked nights cleaning office buildings downtown. She left around 6:30 every evening and did not come back until just before dawn. She was always tired, but she listened from the other side of the wall every single night. That was the rule: no speakers, no headphones, just raw sound. If Nia went off pitch or lost rhythm, her mom would tap gently on the wall 3 times. That meant start over. No anger, no shame, just try again. "Again, baby," her mom would say even from the hallway. Most nights, Nia practiced until her fingertips went numb. Her violin was not fancy. It had scratches from old hands, a loose peg she had to tighten every few minutes, and a bow fraying at the edges like an old shoelace. But when she played it, the sound came alive, it cried, it whispered, it screamed. It was the only way Nia knew how to speak out loud. She started learning at 7. Her grandfather, who passed away when she was 9, played blues on a beat-up fiddle. She remembered his laugh, the way his fingers moved like they were dancing, and how he always said, "Let the instrument tell your truth when you can't." So she did. At school, kids rolled their eyes when she practiced during lunch. Teachers smiled politely but never asked about it, not until the joke, not until Mr. Buckley and Miss Dorsey turned her whole year into a punchline. But Nia had already been working on something, a piece she wrote herself. Half classical, half blues, all feeling. It had no title. She did not think it needed one. What it had was grit, soul, and a secret only she and her violin understood. Because behind the silence, behind the worn hoodie and scuffed sneakers, Nia Forrester was a storm. And for the first time, she was not going to hold it back. But wanting to prove something and standing alone on a stage were two very different things. The next morning, the sign-up sheet was posted near the front office window, right beside the vending machine that never worked. Kids crowded around it, fingers dragging down the list, searching for names they recognized. They wanted drama. They wanted someone to fail. Nia's name sat quietly at number 16. Some squinted at it. "Who's Nia Forrester?" "That girl with the violin." Someone said, "Never talks. She's probably going to play Mary Had a Little Lamb and cry." Laughter followed, as it always did. Nia walked past them without slowing down. She heard every word. She folded them up and stored them deep inside, turning them into fuel. At lunch, Mr. Buckley stood by the basketball courts pretending to care who signed up. "Talent shows on Friday," he called out. No turning back. He spotted Nia at the edge of the yard, tuning her violin. "You ready, Forrester?" he asked with a grin. She looked at him once. Her expression was not rude and not friendly, just empty. Like he was not worth the effort. Inside the teacher's lounge, Miss Dorsey flipped through the list. "Seriously, who let her sign up?" she said. "She signed herself up," said Mrs. Tran, the art teacher. "She has the same right as everyone else." Miss Dorsey shook her head. "It's not about rights, it's about awareness. She's setting herself up." "I think she might surprise you," Mrs. Tran said. Miss Dorsey said nothing, but her jaw tightened. That afternoon, Nia sat on the edge of her bed with her violin and a blank notebook. Her mom leaned in the doorway. "You sure you want to do this?" Nia nodded. "I already said yes. You don't have to prove anything to people who don't see you. I'm not doing it for them. Then who?" Nia paused. "Me." Her mom smiled and pulled her close. "Then do it right." As the week passed, the whispers grew louder. Friday came faster than expected. Friday arrived quicker than Nia expected, like the week barely gave her time to breathe. The gym smelled like old floor polish and too many bodies packed together. Folding chairs scraped loudly against the floor as students shuffled into rows. Teachers stood along the walls pretending not to judge, pretending not to expect mistakes. Phones were already out. Everyone was waiting for something to go wrong. Backstage, Nia sat with her violin resting across her lap. Her fingers tapped lightly against the wood, slow and steady, like a quiet code only she understood. Number 16, that was her number. She kept repeating it in her head, not because it mattered, but because it gave her something solid to hold on to. Performers went up one by one. A girl sang a pop song off-key but with confidence. A group of boys danced and missed half their steps. A kid told knock-knock jokes that barely landed. The crowd clapped anyway, sometimes polite, sometimes forced. Laughter came easy, respect did not. Nia stayed still. She thought about the hallway outside apartment 3C, the smell of old carpet and reheated noodles. She thought about coming home every day and opening her violin case before even dropping her backpack. No snacks, no scrolling, just practice, over and over. The piece she planned to play had lived inside her for months. It started soft, like something slipping out from under a locked door. Then came the shift. The part that grabbed you and pulled hard. Her grandfather's voice echoed in her memory. Make them feel like they have been dragged through something real, then give them peace. Her violin was never perfect. The bow was splitting at the edges. The E string buzzed if she pressed too hard. The bridge leaned slightly to the left. Every few hours, she had to retune everything from scratch. Still, she never complained. She just played. Her little brother Miles used to sit in the doorway and watch. "You gonna win?" He asked once. "I don't know," she said without stopping. "Why don't you play happy songs?" She paused and looked at him. "I do, they sound sad." "Happy and sad can sound the same," she told him. He did not understand, but he nodded anyway. The night before the show, her mom came home late, feet swollen, uniform smelling like bleach. Nia was stretched out on the floor, violin beside her. "You still at it?" her mom asked, almost done. Monica sat next to her and pressed a damp towel against her hands. "You push too hard, your hands will give out. They already feel numb." "Exactly." They sat in silence that felt earned, not awkward. The kind that comes from knowing someone deeply. "You sure about tomorrow?" her mom asked. Nia did not hesitate. "Yeah." Her mom studied her face, the steadiness in her eyes. "Then make them listen." Now, backstage, Nia closed her eyes. She did not think about Mr. Buckley. She did not think about Miss Dorsey. She thought about her mom's hands, about Miles in the doorway, about truth. Number 16, someone whispered. Her name came next, unsure and awkward. "Ah, Nia Forrester." The room barely clapped, just a few taps, a cough, a sneaker squeaking across the floor. Nia stood. She walked toward the stage like she was being pulled by something unseen. Kids in the front row leaned into each other, phones lifted higher. Someone muttered that she was about to choke. She stopped at center stage, no microphone, just one buzzing light overhead and a cheap folding chair. She did not sit. She did not speak. She lifted the violin to her shoulder. For a moment nothing happened. Mr. Buckley cleared his throat. Miss Dorsey leaned forward, waiting for the joke. Then Nia played. The first note was thin and trembling, like it was afraid to exist. She held it, stretched it, let it grow. By the fifth note, the gym was silent. No whispers, no laughs. The piece did not sound familiar. It was not something from a movie or an app. It was raw. Her bow moved like it was part of her arm. At first, it sounded like a quiet conversation between hurt and healing. Then it shifted. The sound twisted and surged. Her fingers moved fast, bending strings until they cried. Her eyes stayed closed. She did not need to see anyone. Everything she wanted to say was already pouring out. She reached the highest note and held it. Held it so long the air felt heavy. People forgot to breathe. Even Mr. Buckley froze, his phone forgotten in his hand. When the music slowed, it felt like release. The final note stretched and lingered, refusing to disappear. When it ended, Nia stayed still, violin against her chest, bow lowered. The gym stayed quiet. Then one clap echoed from the back, then another, then more. The applause rose slowly, not loud or wild, but full. Honest, some students looked down at their phones, embarrassed. They had expected a disaster. Malik stood first, others followed. Nia walked off stage without smiling or crying. She did not need to. Backstage, Mr. Buckley nodded like he had believed in her all along. Miss Dorsey said nothing. Mrs. Tran handed Nia a folded note. You made them feel it. She whispered. Later, Nia read the note in the hallway. It said, when they do not expect you to shine, shine anyway. That night her mom waited by the door. You do it, yeah. They listen, yeah. Monica hugged her tightly. I hope they never forget. But applause fades. Real change starts after. Monday morning came with gray skies and the smell of wet pavement. The kind of morning that usually made people quieter, slower, less willing to look up. But when Nia walked through the front doors of the school, she felt it right away. Something had changed, heads turned. Not the quick side looks she was used to, not the smirks or whispered jokes. These looks stayed a second longer, curious, careful, some almost respectful. A few students nodded as she passed. One girl whispered, "That's her," like she was pointing out someone important. It was not fame. Nia did not want that. It was recognition, something she had never asked for but could no longer avoid. She walked down the hallway, violin case in her hand like always. Her shoulders felt lighter. Not proud, not bold, just steady. Mr. Buckley stood near the lockers, scrolling on his phone. When he saw her, he straightened up. "Hey, amazing job Friday," he said, smiling too late. Nia nodded once and kept walking. Then she reached Miss Dorsey's classroom. Miss Dorsey stood in the doorway holding a stack of worksheets, frozen when she saw Nia. For a moment she just stared like she was trying to line up what she thought she knew with what she had seen. "Miss Forrester," she said carefully, "can I speak with you?" Nia stopped but did not step closer. Miss Dorsey cleared her throat. "I owe you an apology. What I said last week was wrong." She paused. "I made assumptions I should not have." Nia looked at her. She thought about every laugh, every look, every moment she had swallowed her voice. "You should have seen me before Friday." Nia said calmly. Miss Dorsey blinked. That landed harder than anger ever could. Nia walked away. In the cafeteria, Malik slid a carton of chocolate milk onto her tray without a word. He smiled. "Next time we play a duet." Nia smirked. "You are not ready." The sound of her laugh, even that small one, made a few heads turn. Most people had never heard it before. That afternoon when she got home, Nia did not open her violin case right away. She sat on the couch next to her brother, watching cartoons with the sound off. Her mom peeked out from the kitchen. "You not practicing?" Monica asked. "Not tonight." "You good?" Nia thought for a second, then she nodded. "Yeah, I'm good." Not everyone who clapped cared. Not everyone who stood changed overnight. Some people never would. But some did, and sometimes that is enough to start something. Some people will never see you until you make them listen. So play your truth anyway. Use whatever voice you have. Let it be loud when it needs to be. Let it be quiet when it must, because silence can be powerful, but your truth once heard is stronger, and once they hear it, they never forget.